I'm Lorraine Darcy Peters. I'm from Warren in New South Wales, which is Gamilaroi and Walewan country. The institution was opened, I think, in 1911, specifically to take children that were removed under the assimilation policy away from their families and country and placed in this institution to be specifically trained to be domestics for white families.
It was established in a disused hospital in Cootamundra, and the idea was to keep the girls isolated, far away from family and community. They were trained as domestics and farmhands. A lot of that's where all of the brainwashing and assimilation tactics took place.
I'm one of 8 children. 2 of my brothers went to Kinchela Boys Home, which was opened up at the same time. But for us girls, we were placed in Cootamundra Training Home in 1943. So for the next 10 years of my life, I was there to be trained as a domestic. On arrival, you soon forgot your identity because they were about to give you another identity. Whatever clothing you were wearing, they threw that away and to be burnt. Then they deloused you with chemicals and your hair shaven. Then you were given a job, a religion, a bed. Being 4 years old, everybody had to start work somewhere. Punishment was automatic if you forgot to be white. The identity change where our mantra in there was to be white, speak white, dress white and act white. Black was bad. We couldn't even talk about being an Aboriginal person. The brainwashing was full on for 10 years until we got it right, you know, and the punishment was horrific in those places. And you take that as a 4-year-old being brainwashed that, and you soon forgot Aboriginal ways and learnt white ways. 2 things I always say they can't and could not change was the colour of our skin and our spirit that we carried from country.
I was 8 years old, so 4 years older than what Grandma would have been when she was forcibly removed. And at that time, my grandmother and my mum had been to a reunion of Stolen Generation survivors. She had come home and was obviously deeply traumatised and upset. And I think as young children, you know, you go to your grandmother and you ask the questions, you know, what's happening? And we were told. I still remember not being able to comprehend how that could have happened to her. It was a shock.
Yeah, it was a shock not only to the kids, but I thought, how am I going to tell them this story? They kept running in and out. Oh, Grandma, did you have a bed to sleep on? Did they feed your grandma? Did they bath your grandma? I think going through my healing process, which started at the time Megan's talking about, when I had my big trigger. Myself, I'm a pretty strong, together individual. Nothing shakes me at all. But I think it's a horrible story to tell children. You had to sort of pull yourself together and show that strength to them as the person you are, as a grandparent. They own that story and added to that story, and it made them really strong individuals today.
As Prime Minister of Australia, I am sorry. We offer this apology to the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, the families and the communities.
There's a lot of discussion about what is the right age for children to learn about this history. I still stand by the younger they are, the better, the more impact we'll have on making a change.
I always say, take a coin, and it's got 2 sides. How long is it going to take my people to break the cycle of the trauma? The other side is you. How long is it going to take for you to acknowledge that this happened? But people don't know what they don't know and don't want to know. You can't force that on anybody, but it's a shame that this country does not know its full history, the effects of that history, and why little people today are still running around that don't know who they are, where they come from, and why they're acting out. It's a vicious cycle. If we don't break it in our families, it'll keep going. If we bring it up on the apology, the survival day, all those days, but what happens in between.
A lot of the older generations, you know, we might not be able to make change there, but I feel like injecting all of that energy into our younger generations and our truth telling there will have a massive impact.